tell Jason, Katie said this, so you gotta explain it to her. And Jason Mize did. I had $5 that I got from Pastor Frank in the children's ministry, because I was the only one who completed the homework, because that's the kind of kid I was. And Jason came and sat next to me and said, I heard you were asking about, what's a harlot? And he said, well, when you're older and you have a husband, you'll want to kiss your husband, won't you? And I said, yeah. Little did either of us know. And he said, well, a harlot is somebody who, if this was my $5 and I gave it to somebody to kiss me, that person, that would be a harlot, is somebody who takes money for kisses. And so, about 4th or 5th grade, I learned from Jason Mize, from the Song of the Harlot, that a harlot is somebody who sells their kisses. And I was very grossed out, and I said, I want my $5 back, and I took it and walked away.
That's funny.
But today we're starting an introduction of Lent, because we're going to do Lent for the first time. So I wanted to, the way I wanted to approach this is I wanted to take a little bit of time looking at just some basic facts, what is Lent, and then I wanted to talk a little bit about, I've been asking a lot of different people, what does Lent mean to you, when I've been looking online and seeing message boards where people have asked this question, and I've tried to pull out some major themes of what Lent means to different people, because what I found is that it's a tradition that's been going on for a long time in a lot of different denominations and different churches. So it's really, some of the basics may be the same, but it means a lot of different things to different people. So I wanted to present some of those different ideas, and just see if there's anything that might stand out to you guys or to people on the live stream, to see maybe there's something there that seems valuable to you that you might want to practice this year. So the basics of Lent is it's a 40-day, up until Easter, sort of. It's closer to 46 days, because the Sundays don't count. So it starts on Ash Wednesday, which is this Wednesday. And in a lot of churches, they save the palm oil or the palm branches from Palm Sunday. They burn those, sometimes with holy water or with a little bit of oil, and create ashes from them. And then on Ash Wednesday, there's a special service, and you may have seen people with the cross of ashes on their forehead. And it's sort of this symbol of the sacrifice that's been given, and the idea of I saw a lot of people talking about what's a reminder of your own mortality, a reminder of the fact that this life doesn't last forever, but also a reminder that through the cross there is life after death. So sort of a mortality and eternity, sort of in one symbol together. And for many it's also a way of showing their faith, that going around with the ashes throughout the day can be a way of displaying your faith and your reverence for God, similar to how we might think of baptism as being a way of showing the world that we are of this faith, or that we've been affected by God, in a way of kind of putting that forward. So Ash Wednesday starts this Wednesday, and that's when Lent begins, and it's traditionally been 40 days of giving something up or making some sort of sacrifice, with Sundays being a little bit of celebration in a more somber time. So on the Sundays, they're sometimes known as feast days or as mini Easters, and it's a time of more celebration, and if you're giving up certain foods or drinks in a lot of denominations and a lot of practices, this is when you can take them. So the day before Ash Wednesday, this coming Tuesday, is Mardi Gras. And that ties in because Mardi Gras originated from this idea of the day before we're going to be giving everything up, we're going to be kind of one last hurrah, one last feast. It's also sometimes known as Pancake Day, because a lot of the foods that have traditionally been given up for Lent can be used to make pancakes. So people would clear out their cupboards and they'd want to be getting rid of all these ingredients that they're not going to be using during Lent, and would make pancakes out of them, and it would be kind of a big feast. It can be called Fat Tuesday. And so, if nothing else, I think we should definitely participate in Pancake Day. Lent might be up for grabs, but Pancake Day is where I draw the line. We should do this. I think this should be hard church doctrine. And so, we're starting Ash Wednesday, beginning every day up till then until Easter, with the Sundays in between being feast days where you can participate in things you may be giving up. So my experiences with Lent have been pretty limited. In high school, a lot of my friends participated in some form of Lent. Most of my friends were Orthodox. So I had friends who were Western Rite Orthodox who would choose certain things to give up. I had friends who were Eastern Rite Orthodox who had a set list of things they would give up. And so around me, all my friends were sort of participating in this thing, and so I tried it a couple of times. I think 2 different years in high school I did it on my own. I picked a few things to give up for Lent, and I tried to kind of make an experience out of it, and enjoyed it for the most part. Wasn't life-altering, but it was something I participated in. And then in college, one of the years, I think my sophomore year, as a school, we all participated in Lent. And that was a little more meaningful to me because it was something we were doing together, and there was services that were going along with it, and it wasn't just, I'm not going to have soda for 40 days. It was a little bit more of a meaningful communal activity. But as I was looking through this, I think, to be honest, the closest thing I've had to the spirit of Lent hasn't been in Lent itself. It's been in Good Friday. Since I was, I think pretty much since forever, I don't know how old we were when we started it, but we've celebrated as a family Good Friday. And we've taken communion. We have a little fancy communion set that we get out. We all sit around the rug. When I was little, we had resurrection eggs, which were Easter eggs with little, like a little nail of cross, or plastic nail cross, and little white cloth, and you had to pull out one and talk about what the significance of that symbol was in the Easter story. But it was a more solemn time as a family. It was something that was very valuable to me even at a young age. We would talk a little bit about sort of what had stood out to us this year, what had changed in us this year. And then we'd take communion together. And it was a more solemn, reverent, self-reflective time. And a lot of what I've seen with Lent is that similar feeling of being more of a time for self-reflection, self-evaluation, and a little bit more of a reverent time. And so I think the spirit of Lent has been less present for me when I was actually doing Lent than it was just sitting with my family. We would even Skype when people were away. For college, we've kind of maintained that as a family unit. So a lot of denominations celebrate Lent in some capacity. Some of the Methodist Church, Lutheran Church, Catholic, Orthodox. So there's no exactly one unified way of dealing with this. Most people agree that that Lent came from a variety of traditions that kind of merged together. And probably in the 3rd, 4th, 5th century was when it became closer to what it is today. But it came from a variety of different traditions, all kind of around that time being glommed together as a pre-Easter celebration, and eventually got boiled down to 40 days with some idea of like the 40 days that Jesus was tempted in the desert. And so there's been an idea of fasting, an idea of sacrifice, an idea of prayer, an idea of renewing commitment to God or helping others, an idea of self-evaluation. Pope Francis this year, in his address about Lent, talked about how he was suggesting that perhaps for Lent we should give up not candy or sugar, but unindifference towards others. He talked about how an interesting thing to sacrifice for Lent could be, instead of sacrificing food or drink, to sacrifice not caring about our neighbors or not caring about God, to sacrifice getting so wrapped up in our own things that we are indifferent to the sufferings of others. He also brought up an idea that I thought was very interesting and very challenging, that he was suspicious of charity that doesn't hurt, and that the time of Lent is not a time for giving up things so we can feel good about ourselves. The last time I did a study, I talked a little bit about how we love ourselves and how to practice self-care and how to do things that are good for us and to make ourselves into better, healthier, happier people. But that's not exactly the spirit here. The spirit here is more an idea of, if it is a focus on ourselves, it's a self-reflective focus on ourselves that is more about giving up our sins or giving up the things that are more issues with us. We've talked a lot in the past as a church about how it's easy to get very down on ourselves and very into this feeling of I'm nothing, I'm a failure. And we've tried to kind of work to move away from that. But at the same time, one of the themes I saw from talking to people about Lent is that it is a time to look at things we like to ignore in ourselves, or things that we might not be comfortable in facing about ourselves, and see if we can make some real changes. And that it's also very much a time for focusing on others, for volunteering, and for focusing on God, a renewed time for prayer or attending church services. One of the interesting things I saw from talking with somebody about what does Lent mean to you, she said, to me it's really about sacrifice, and it's about gratitude. That so many things have been given to me this year that I will sacrifice and give up something in order to show that I'm grateful and that I recognize what's been given to me. Another conversation I had, somebody told me that for me it's about a culmination of the scriptures. It's about preparing for the time when the ultimate sacrifice has been made for us, and everything that was kind of prophesied about in the Old Testament sort of coming into being and coming into light. And then in that way it's almost very similar to the spirit of Advent, that it's preparing ourselves to really appreciate what we celebrate in Easter. We've talked during Advent about how sometimes Christmas can just fly by and we don't really pay attention to it, and by the time it's over, we feel like we haven't even really experienced it. We got so caught up in other things. And I think if Christmas can do that, Easter can maybe do it even more, because we don't have such a cultural surrounding with Easter. It's like, oh yeah, Easter's on Sunday, I forgot. Like Easter can fly by like nothing, but it can be an important time to just meditate on what's been given to us this year, what's been given to us in our lifetime, what the people around us, how they impact us. And so in that way, it's preparing ourselves to really understand the Easter season in the same way we prepare ourselves through Advent to really grasp the meaning of the Christmas season. Couple other things that I really saw saw through talking with others is that it's really a good time for reducing distractions. It's a good time for taking the things that keep us from noticing God or from noticing others around us, and trying to cut down on that. So some of the things I heard people giving up were, a lot of it is food items. A lot of people give up sugar. A lot of people give up certain foods that they might feel more reliant on. Coffee or caffeinated drinks, so they might give up just whatever else they feel they rely on to a larger degree. A lot of people give up social media or other non-food items. They might give up time watching TV. But I've also seen that a lot of people add in something instead of giving something up. They might add in time volunteering, or they might add in showing kindness to others, or saying kind things to others. Or they might try to give up something like jealousy, something a little more abstract. They might try to give up gossip or negativity. And so it can be kind of anywhere on a range from very concrete to very abstract. That it can be taking away things that distract us, or it can be adding in things that might enrich us or might enrich the lives of others around us. I think it's definitely a time of, when it is self-reflection, it's a time of giving up excuses and turning towards being more like Christ. And when it's a time of looking towards others, it's not a time of looking towards others to make ourselves feel better. It's a time of really caring about those around us and really reaching out to those around us. On a practical level, like I said, the Sundays are feast days. Those tend to be more for food items. With some of these more abstract things, you don't want to try and cram all your gossiping into Sunday. It's not a healthy way to live. But it might be worth considering doing something else to have something celebratory on those Sundays. If you are giving up something more abstract, perhaps find something fun to add in. Maybe Sundays could be a good time for spending time with family, or for something else sort of positive and joyful in the spirit of joyful anticipation. Another thing I found helpful when I have participated in Lent in the past is when I am giving up food items. One suggestion is that you might give up food options unless you're offered them. So if you're giving up chocolate and a friend offers you some of their candy bar, it might just be better to take it and make exceptions there, rather than have this conversation of, oh no, I'm not doing this, I'm giving up all this. And it's very much a personal choice, but that can be an interesting solution for not making it feel like you're giving something up to feel good about yourself, but that you're just giving it up in a time of self-discipline and self-reflection. And then ultimately, what I've seen with Lent is that it means a lot of different things to different people. I wasn't seeing one concrete, this is how we do Lent. It's meant different things throughout the ages. It means different things in different denominations, and then even within different denominations, people take different meanings from it. I think what stood out to me the most is just the idea that it could be a time of gratitude, a time of really reflecting on all the things that we have and being grateful for them, or a time of limiting excess. A lot of people donate a lot of things around Lent. They might kind of go through their house and see, what are things that I don't need that's just building up? What can I throw away? What can I give to others? It can be very much a time of housekeeping, or kind of with the idea of spring cleaning, kind of cleaning up the house and reducing the clutter both inside and outside. And it can be a time of mindfulness and really living in the moment and staying grounded in the time that we have. But if there's anything from these variety of ways to celebrate Lent that might stand out to you, might be worth considering. Seeing if there's something you would either like to give up for 40 days or add in for 40 days, and that as a community that we can share this time together and we can celebrate on Sundays, and that we can take time for individual reflection, but also take time to look outwards and see what can be done around us. And if nothing else, I really hope we participate in Pancake Tuesday, because that's important. So I think at that, I'm just going to let it be a slightly shorter study, and I was going to pray with you guys. So Lord, thank you that we get this time to come together and to actually spend time with one another and to spend time with you. Thank you for this time to be a community with one another, and help us in this time leading up to Easter to consider spending it making changes in our life to make us more like you.